there's anyone out there, really struggling with depression and these other mental issues, don't feel like it precludes you from doing something meaningful for the world. And in fact, it may give you a perspective to do something really meaningful because maybe you feel people's pain in a way others don't.
Welcome back to Chakra Free Radio. Today we're going to be talking about mental health, mental blocks, seasonal depression, how just regular people like us, how we deal with, sort of things of that nature and how we navigate to try to bring ourselves out of the rut on a daily basis. I know a certain percentage of a lot of us go through these things. I've gone through depression a lot of times. I'm pretty sure you guys have your own things that you guys have gone through and navigated through. And today's guest is, my best friend. You guys heard me say his name a couple of times. Giovanni Acevedo.
Jesus.
Giovanni Acevedo, Mr. Fuji,
right.
Living Letters, one half of Almighty brand.
Yes, sir.
That he has his own thing. Welcome.
Thank you, y'all. Appreciate y'all. Finally in the space. Know what I mean?
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
Word.
Yeah. So this is a topic that we're really passionate about because it seems like there's a lot of folks out there who are struggling, feeling like maybe they're not, whether it's feelings of low worth or, that they haven't accomplished whatever, it may just be kind of chemical imbalances or, genetic stuff they're dealing with. I mean, this issue of mental health is a big one. Right.
And
I think, there's a lot of us out there struggling. I think it's worth noting that, even if you're, famous and wealthy, a lot of, professional athletes, world famous artists, musicians, all struggle with these issues, and I think that historically there's been a lot of stigma around discussing it. I think that's starting to maybe get a little bit reduced over time. And I think that's a very, very positive thing because I think these issues have got to be worked through. And I think both from the standpoint of, having a productive, fulfilling life and also from the standpoint of spiritual development, I think it's really important to kind of, identify and work through these mental challenges that we all have. So, so we're excited for this episode. Hopefully the audience out there gets something useful out of it.
Facts.
we're going to go off the rails a little bit. I have a quick question. What do you guys think about the phrase, money can't buy happiness?
100% true.
I look back. I mean, I'm only 32, but I look back on moments in life when I've had, a lot of money at some points, or maybe not, at least, or whatever. And I think money can get you to certain places and certain doors, can help get you closer to certain opportunities to maybe create something. But I don't think that the happiness, I don't think that it directly can give you happiness. I think it can give you like steps to get something, or maybe create opportunities to take families to places and spend time. But I don't think it fulfills right here. It don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for the average person, I think it buys stability.
Yeah.
And I think for those super, super rich people, I don't think it buys them happiness. Because I don't think they're ever going to be happy because they're never fulfilled.
Yeah. Well, I think, and it creates all kinds of mental complexes too. Once you cross a certain level, there's paranoia, there's concern that people only want to be around you for your money.
Yeah.
It becomes, a very, very difficult thing. But, I'm curious why you brought it up. I mean, because it feels like for a lot of people, money struggles are a big part of their mental health issues.
Yeah. I mean, it causes stress. Like, it's real.
Yeah.
You don't have enough. And I mean, yes, I think, so it causes stress. You don't have enough. And some people take it some people see themselves, if I have this, I am this level of worth, or if like, I mean, we see some people like, oh, I got the fire car. I'm up there. It's like, my car do the same thing. It get me from A to B, so. Yeah.
I mean, I brought it up just because I feel like people equate money and depression, and I feel like it all roots together.
Right.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I think there's a question of the things our society values versus what maybe really matters.
Yeah,
Right.
And so I don't know, like for you, like the individuals who are maybe struggling with mental issues of various kinds, like what do you think is the biggest issue for people out there? Is it the money concern? Is it other things? Or
if we look at like a poverty aspect, right? If you don't have, well, one, I mean, yeah, this is a big conversation for me. I feel like some of it can be, when I think of it, immediately I think of like structural racism, right? Where you're put in a certain space and you're immediately cut from opportunities, from healthy foods,
right,
and then from there that creates health problems, and then the health problems, because I'm so down and out, and that creates a stress, and then the stress creates a mental, and so I do feel like it goes back to a bigger picture of, I mean, I'm sure of like redlining method, like different things like that. I feel like race and things like that and location are big things that can add to that when it comes to health and,
it's crazy how diet,
finance and things.
Like, the thing that you put in you affects your whole brain chemistry.
Yeah.
Because, I never really thought about processed foods and all that stuff and how it does. Like, whenever if you eat a lot of it, you do feel like
yeah,
a little droggy, and as if suppose like replacing like I love chicken. I love chicken patties, and we
of course
love them. They're so quick and easy. Quick and easy. 210 calories usually.
Right.
But like as
that's max specific.
It's usually like 210 to like 230. I know that for sure. But like it's crazy how like you feel different as opposed to just making the chicken sandwich yourself.
Right.
Because it's not processed, or just replacing that chicken, that frozen processed chicken patty with a salad,
right?
And how like you feel lighter, you feel more clearer in your brain and all that stuff.
And I think that's part of why I say what I say, because it's like some people don't have knowledge of healthy foods,
right.
Or access, right?
Yeah.
Due to lack of income, resource, things like that. And so that adds to like a big aspect,
Like sometimes I know specifically for my family, we grew up on Save a Lot.
Of course.
And I think Market Basket has gotten better over the years, but Save a Lot was like a big thing. And as an adult now, we don't even go to those places. Like, I maybe still be big, but I go to Whole Foods. Sometimes I go to Aldi. You know what I mean? I go to bulk places.
But to flip the coin on that, right? As you get older, you understand more why your family has to resort to places like that. You feel me? Due to, for income, or just because you got mad kids. Yeah. And it's hard out here. Yeah. And you got to do what you got to do.
So sometimes you had to buy the Chef Boyardees, and
sometimes you gotta buy the off brand instead of the frosted actual flakes to save $3. That can go a long way.
They just roasted flakes.
Exactly. you know.
Yeah, well, it's interesting you brought this up, because I think there have been some scientific studies done that eliminating processed foods can cut depression by like 25 to 30%, just like off the board, right? And I think a lot of times we think, oh, I need to go see a therapist, I need to go, go on some kind of medication, but in a lot of cases, just diet and exercise can fix a lot of these issues.
That's important.
Just even 10,000 steps a day.
Yeah. And that requires movement, getting out the house.
I don't know how many times where like I would get the 10,000 steps and my stomach would feel all flat. And I didn't even go to the gym or whatever. And I'd be like, I don't even need to go to the gym today. Like after work, I'd be like, I got my 10K steps, I'm good. But I probably should go to the gym right after. I usually get more often than not 10K steps in
work. Just
at work. But
that's crazy.
It is crazy how like health is wealth, and it does affect our brain matter and all that stuff. And how we view things on life and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got a question for both of you. So I feel like as human beings, we all have this survival mechanism kind of hardwired into us.
Mm-hmm.
How many, for the people who are struggling, or if your own personal experience, how often have your mental struggles been related to just this, kind of latent survival instinct kicking in? And I ask because in reality, most of us are not living in situations where our survival is really at stake, right? But I think that evolutionary mechanism is still there, and so maybe we end up creating all kinds of mental complexes. And I say this, from my perspective, in my time in finance, the amount of times I was like, oh my God, this is a do or die, do or die day or trade or whatever. Like, it was frequent, right? And in reality, it had nothing to do with my survival. It was all like an ego thing.
I think it's big, the concept of like being in survival mode, right?
Right.
Like, the older I've got, the more I've realized that it's a very real thing. I think there's a lot of people that operate in survival mode and don't really realize it. I found myself in my life too, where you're like so used to just sort of a cycle of like, I have to chase something. I have to, there's multiple aspects, whether it's financially, whether it's like relationally,
right?
Sometimes people chase even when the other end doesn't want them.
Right.
It's not reciprocated,
right.
Just for out of the step of like trying to seek the approval of love from another individual, right? Like, I've seen it, manifest in that. I think just like the way, like passing down, like the way we operate with our kids, right? Things like that. Like, I've seen people sort of pass down, I think we do come from families who've been through a lot, and we can see, personally, I've seen like sometimes you can pass down good qualities, or you can also pass down qualities out of frustration, so I've seen that, in both. I think in my life, I've tried to like, all right, like, you're no longer, I think you have the things that you've wanted, right? You want your own space, your own home. You have that. Like, you no longer have to like you're okay. Like, you could settle, what I mean? And you're building that home that you've wanted for yourself. And so I have to remind myself of that, to like trying not to like operate in survival mode. I think even too, sometimes I'll be at home so much by myself. I love my space. I'll be like, I'm gonna see y'all, and I keep to myself, but it's also like, yo, you got your space, you good, you safe, ain't no one gonna take it from you. Go out and, whether it's inviting people over, go interact with your family, with your friends,
I don't think I ever like really operate in survival mode.
You sure?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to like think in my brain. Like, do you think I ever done that?
I mean, it could. Like, the thing is, I think sometimes when people hear that, it's like this big concept, but sometimes it could be small, intricate things.
Yeah,
it's very like small, intricate things. Like,
maybe survival, like, because you said the love thing.
Yeah,
maybe at one point I was like that. But in terms of every other thing, I feel like
it could be like that, right? For small instances, when like you're like, this is a joke, but like when you're like probably have clothes that you should probably get rid of, right? And then no longer like you can go ahead and buy a new hoodie. It's okay. You know what I'm saying? Like go buy the new hoodie, like, which, I think like, and like we're trying to like, sometimes we stress ourselves over like, oh, I can't get this or can't get that. When like you actually have free will and you actually have enough in your budget.
But is that survival?
I feel like sometimes that can turn into survival because we could not do things out of fear. Like, like to do,
Because how I think about survival is like, all right, we went on a hike, right?
Yeah.
And now there's a bear approaching us.
Well, that's, yeah.
That's what I think about surviving.
That's like literal, yeah.
No, but I'm saying, this is a big part of why I wanted to do the show with you is I think,
the bear.
Like, yeah, I had this survival thing where even like, it was in constant motion, right?
I feel like finance, there's survival there.
Yeah, maybe I lose my job. I'm not going to die,
But
and
like
I feel like
that trade makes sense though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like I think inherently you're like a very opposite minded person. I don't think you would ever be in a situation where you're like, you know what, like if I lose my job, I'm gonna die.
Right. I think survival mode. I think moments like that, like speaking about you in finance, I think because it feels like this current situation is my world.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what it's big. That's when it triggers us to be as humans, like in a state of survival mode.
Yeah.
Like if this doesn't happen or fall through, the whole world gonna end.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, it's actually not. But in the position that we're at in life, we've created this to be our world. And I think it's held up so much, like, that.
Yeah. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is I think a lot of the problems are maybe self-created because we have this image in our heads of what it is we want our life to be and what it's not.
Right.
And I don't know what percentage of our, the kind of mental issues out there stem from that.
Right.
And I can say just for me personally, I had this vision.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't fulfilled, I was a total failure. And in reality, none of it was really true.
Yeah. And I think some of that, we have mentioned kind of comes from like what we see, right?
Yeah.
I think it's what we perceive as people, what we perceive of other people's lives.
Right.
What's broadcasted on social media, what's broadcasted from our own friends or parents and things like that.
Yeah, no, my dad's, one of his favorite shows when we were growing up was Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
Oh boy, that's funny. That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
There you go.
Yeah.
I do get in survival, now that like you explained it a little bit better, I do get like that when I get complacent at work.
Right.
Like when I know when I can be 100% at work and when I'm like 50 and 25 and I'm like, all right, I really don't care like this week. And then all of a sudden, like something will like come in, like something will hit me and be like, all right, get it together, bro. Like you don't want to get fired. You need, like, you have someone to support. You have a whole life now. Like you need to be able to pay your rent. You know what I mean? You need to be able to buy groceries. You need to be able to do all those things. I think that's probably like the closest thing I've getting to survival for me. Just like that's like every day. I mean, like that's like average thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, I hear survival mode and I think a lot about emotionally how we as individuals can live in like survival mode,
Right.
And how I've wanted to, like, in places in my life, grow out of that,
Right.
Like you don't always have to have a response for everything that someone says.
Right.
You don't have to like literally use your energy to like say something. Some things are not better left unsaid or whatever the phrase is, but once you start to realize like how much energy you dish out, it's like, I don't always have to have the last word.
Right.
That calls growth.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, no, for real. That's
that we talk almost every day, but like at a point, we just reached 30 and we just like everything like switched for us. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna argue with people no more. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna waste my time and effort on certain things. Like if you don't want to do things, I'm not gonna talk to you about it. The way I love is different than how I used to. The way I handle breakups is different, and I was horrible, man. Firsthand how I used to be, bro. I remember. I would broadcast that heartbreak like nothing, bro. And I see people doing that now, and I'd be like,
yeah,
one day they'll learn.
Yeah, no, that's
you know
real.
What I mean?
It's a point of life, maturity and growth.
It was toxic how I used to broadcast that hurt, and I try to make people feel my hurt as I was hurt, and it was just horrible. And I would talk bad on that person, and come to realize that it takes two to tango. You know what I mean? It wasn't just one person.
Just on what you just said, it takes two to tango. I don't know the exact words for the quote, but it was like part of healing is acknowledging you're wrong in the situation.
Right.
And that's something that I've like, as I'm, healing through things out the years, I've had to like really confront, and it's true. It's not, it takes two to tango. It's not a one-sided, one-way street. It's both. And I think yes, situations can be very traumatic and big and hit us very deeply. But I think the best thing that you can do as an individual, instead of pointing fingers, also acknowledging your part, like taking that part for real.
Even like now, right? I've been in a relationship like 2.5, been married for a while, for the last, whatever duration, 1.5 years. I'm still healing. And sometimes, I do still kind of bleed a little bit on even trend now, you know what I mean? I can still see that, all right, there's still work there, you know what I mean? Like there's always going to be work there. And I feel like in any relationship, there's like cycles you go through.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to hit on this relationship issue more, because I feel like for a lot of people, if they're not in a relationship, that becomes like the biggest, part of their mental world is like, I got to find this person. And then some people, when they're in the relationship, they're like, I got to get out of it.
Right.
We've all had these, varying experiences. I'm just asking, do you feel like the relationship will fulfill you, or do you think you've got to have fulfillment before you go into a relationship?
The older I've gotten, the more situations I've been through and maturing, I've realized that you as a person should be more fulfilled within yourself and like be solid within yourself, and having someone to share who you are with is an addition. It's a compliment.
Right.
But I do feel like as I've gotten older and matured more, yes, the younger me would like look for fulfillment in a person or satisfaction, which is a real thing. Like everybody wants someone to share closely with, to be one with, to grow old with, for sure. But I think when it comes to a point where you replace that with your identity in that person, I think that's when it becomes unhealthy.
Yeah.
And so I feel like the best thing that I've learned is like knowing more of who I am, becoming secure more in myself. And then, because if things don't go and things, don't work out in your favor, you sort of be less like, oh my God, I lost myself. And that's sometimes what we hear in breakups and things like that. Like, I feel like I lost a part of me, which is very real. Like, you spent so much, but you still got to like hold on to who you are, not lose yourself, Yeah. But I've been on both sides. So
yeah, fulfillment first. I would look for it, right? Every time that I looked for it, it always ended.
Right.
The one time where, because before I trained, it was like 2 to 3 years where I would just even kill, minding myself, trying to better my health and stuff like that, better my mind and stuff like that. The one time where I didn't look for anything, it fell. And this is the one and only, the one and only I was looking for. And sometimes it just happens like that. So I would say people out there, just focus on you, better you.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you don't really find it, it comes at the weirdest moment. And just make sure everything in you is whole before you go into that next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not advocating this, but, just worth mentioning, Buddha, had a family and left it after he became enlightened. Walked away. Jesus, as far as we know, was not married and didn't have kids. There's the traditions with monasteries and renunciates of all kinds where they walk away from all these family relationships in order to pursue the ultimate truth. So, again, not advocating it, but the point is that these are people who felt like they were clearly able to find fulfillment completely within themselves without but the reason I ask is I feel like, I don't want to blame the media for this, but I think all of us have this image dumped in our head that, maybe the most important thing in life is to find that, your soulmate or your twin flame or all these, whatever the phrase of the day is, and I wonder just to what extent that it kind of messes people up. This idea that they have to have this absolutely perfect person that they're with, which is kind of like a made up, fantasy.
Yeah. That's real. Yeah, no, it's a lot. It's a lot out there. There's a lot of that out there. Social media, movies,
right,
depicting like fairy tales and all those things, or just you have to have this, and like if not, life isn't complete. Yeah, there's a lot out there.
Yeah,
just be fulfilled in yourself, and whoever you share that life with, it's no longer just like, I mean, it is love, but it's a partnership.
Yes,
like, you know this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're 10 plus years in, so
yeah,
like there's like roads and cycles that you go through, and it's not, you're not always gonna. You should always be in love. I don't know how to really like say this, but it's like you choose love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You choose this person. You choose this partner. You choose this life.
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to practicalities too. It's like you got practical stuff that for life to continue that's got to be dealt with. The love stories never really talk about retirement accounts. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like that stuff's all edited out. Like you get. Maybe it ends with the marriage scene or what,
Right.
But,
that's right.
But they never show you the after part.
Yeah.
I saw this interview by these two people, this older, I think like British couple. Those like random people on the street, right? And she had this crazy profound thing. I hope I'm going to say it right. She was like, we had the outline for love.
Mm-hmm.
All we had to do was just color in the spaces now. And like when you think about that, I'm like, that's so fire. Like they've been together for like 40, 50 years. And like not every color is going to be the same.
Right.
But their outline was was there for them. And they each, colored in what they needed to color in.
I hear that. Yeah. I think also to a piece of what you said, choice, like both of y'all said, I think also love is not just a feeling. It's also an action. Right. And so to love someone, because I love you, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. It's not just a feeling. I mean, even on the like this, faith aspect, the verse for God so loved the world that he gave his only son.
Right.
That's the action aspect also to love. Right. And that's something that I've learned, throughout relationships and getting older, that it's, there will be moments where feelings don't feel like feelings, but that's when commitment follows through.
Right.
So
I may be oversharing a little bit here, but I think it's kind of fitting because we're just talking about love. We don't really talk about love that often.
Nice.
I was
watching.
I was watching some TikTok, and this is gonna be pretty morbid. I'm sorry. I apologize. I apologize in advance, but. Basically, it was about people on the plane for 9/11.
Right.
And they were calling their loved ones. And I was crying just listening to these people talk to their significant other, you know what I mean? And that got me thinking, like, do I even talk to Trin enough about that stuff, right? Like, she knows that I love her, right? But just hearing that, bro, like, just hearing them say, like, I'm sorry, I can't, I love you, I'm sorry that this is happening, stuff like that. I immediately went onto my notes app because I know, like, if God forbid something ever happened to me, she has my password, she has everything. She's gonna go through my phone, right?
Right.
So I went to my notes app, and I wrote her a letter. Just in case something ever suddenly happened, like, she knows how much I adored her and how much I love her and how much she changed my life for the better and stuff like that. But not to get too morbid and, me cry a little bit.
All right.
But, I thought that was pretty fitting to share. And I don't know if people ever do it. It's kind of like my own will, even though it's not really a will, but, just something that they have at the end for their own, that they can read.
Yeah. Well, I think this, I think you raise an interesting point. In daily life, I think a lot of us just kind of take each other for granted, and it's only when there's a moment of loss, then all of a sudden you realize, hey, this person was really, really important to me.
Yeah, we say that all the time when, like, people are, like, bigging up, like, when they talk about people after their death, it's like, you got to praise these people, like, while they're alive too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
it sucks.
That's real.
Yeah, I wanted to turn back. You kind of mentioned a little bit, but just the importance of kind of family upbringing in terms of how it plays into somebody's development, and and obviously that would flow into their how they would maybe respond to mentally challenging circumstances. Anything that you want, either of you want to share.
I'm an emotional person, right? I wasn't always emotional. I don't really remember being that emotional as a kid. When you were around, Gopal, but I became more emotional from the circumstances that I've been through, right? I didn't have it that, right? So, I've only lived with females. I'm not saying that they're emotional, but like, you know what I mean? Like I learned, you know what I mean? I don't want to be that person, but I did. Sometimes when I get angry and I react, it could be from being insecure and emotional and all that stuff. And I learned that, I think, from the women in my family. So don't take offense to it, but I'm working through stuff, you know what I mean? And trying to like phase that out.
I feel like some of that too is also like, yes, it can be environmental, but I feel like some of that is like hereditary.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I've noticed that more as I've gotten older. Like, so I've had moments, right, where I'll think about like my personality traits, and whether it's physical or just like actual personality. And I'll be like, oh, I get like this from my dad, get this from my mom, or like really sound like my dad. And I really do this like my mom, and like, I feel like the older I've gotten, I see like how more realer it is. And even too, like, even some of the qualities that we may not be a fan of in some of our, let's say some of our parents, like there's times where I've seen those qualities in me.
Right.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah, they creep in.
And I'm like, I had to like catch myself sometimes, but I think that comes with, observation and just time and growth that like, I notice for sure that there are certain qualities I get from my mother and certain qualities I get from my father. Absolutely.
Gopal, you take any qualities from your parents?
Oh yeah. I think and I think the interesting thing is if you really focus on it, you can kind of pick and choose. And I think a lot of us just choose to be victims of circumstance. But the reality is, if there are qualities of either parent that you admire and some that you're less a fan of, you can really pick and choose which ones you want to emphasize, and there may be genetic hardwiring and the like, but yeah, I do think that we have the free will to choose which qualities we want to emphasize,
and also have the free will to do it, and to, in a sense, unlearn, right? Like unlearn some of those, right? Mm-hmm. And I think realizing like, okay, like I've done this, I operate in this way, I maybe respond in this way that, my partner or whoever significant other like doesn't sit well with them, right? So I think it takes time to observe, take it in, try to work on it as best as possible, I'm
always gonna be emotional though.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm a Drake fan. I'm just playing.
Oh boy. Yeah. That's funny.
In a lot of cases, genius is really linked to maybe not being as mentally sane, quote unquote sane, as everyone else is around you. And that to have like a really, really huge outcome, there may be some level of
some type of
being a little bit out of the mental norm in order to get there.
Gotcha. I mean, honestly, I don't know if this is answering the question, but
it's like Kanye.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Well, I think.
Oh, like the rigidness focus at times, like the.
This idea of if you want to do something out of the ordinary, something extraordinary, right? Maybe maybe your mentality's got to be a little bit extraordinary too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, for sure.
I mean, we never really got a chance to look at Vincent Van Gogh, but we can see somebody like Kanye, who we're not gonna lie. We're not gonna lie about how great of an artist how great of an artist he is. You know what I mean? The pictures he paints,
he's got his vision. He has a vision.
The sound that he hears, the beats, the fashion. You know what I mean? Like he is a pretty crazy individual though.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right.
I think you have to be a little tapped in the head. You know what I mean? Like I don't have that. You know what I mean? I wish I had it.
I mean, I think some of it, when we look at those people, even like Steve Jobs.
Yes.
I had some stuff saved up on Instagram threads. Damn, it was something. There's like this concept in how he operated.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? There's like a 10 something or 3 something.
He was not a normal,
but I think at times, yes, like, okay, so I think both. I think there's a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes, yes, you have to like raise yourself to another level of like different level of focus, different level of vision, and like be a little crazy. Not like that, but like you have to be crazy enough to believe.
Yeah.
That can actually like excel to that place. But then also I do think that there is a healthy side on the other end as well, that like sometimes your execution and your ideas and the place that you need to get to doesn't require craziness.
Yeah.
It requires like some type of focus, discipline, having people around you to keep you grounded and checked, you know? Because I do feel like also in that process with like a Kanye or Van Gogh or Steve Jobs, I feel like if they had more people closer to them to keep them grounded a little bit, like in reality, even though maybe they reached to that level because they were like out of reality. But I feel like things could sometimes finish off healthier if you have people who are closer to you and keeping you grounded.
Right.
And be like, yo, do this, but don't be a force, you know? You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, but I think you're right. Maybe, it might be hard to pull off both.
Yeah. So, but I have seen, I know really successful people.
Yeah.
Who, are strategic and healthy emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The reason I bring this up is, I feel like for a lot of people struggling with depression, they may feel like there's nothing that they can really do, that they're, and I just want to say, for example, a great statesman like Winston Churchill struggled horrifically with depression.
Right.
It was a problem his whole life, right? It didn't prevent him from being a, heroic political figure at a time when the world needed him.
Right.
Right. So if there's anyone out there, really struggling with depression and these other mental issues, don't feel like it precludes you from doing something meaningful for the world. And in fact, it may give you a perspective to do something really meaningful because maybe you feel people's pain in a way others don't.
Yeah. There's something I wanted to mention real quick is this concept or just this thought that I've heard years ago. So I'm real into like spoken word poetry, right? And that's like my heart. And I've taken a big break from like writing and just like performing, presenting more of my art, but I have stuff. And as I was like learning poetry and spoken word and just writing and mechanics and just different things and studying, I had seen there was this guy, Joseph Solomon. He talked about how like creatives, especially when it comes to like writing or just creatives in general, like sometimes as a creative, sometimes you re-trigger yourself in a painful experience to create a dope product of art.
Right.
And so it came from the question of like, can you only create art out of like, is your best place only from the place of pain?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And,
it's an interesting question. Yeah.
And that's a conversation that I've had with, with Ray before. I've had with, I got a close boy, my guy, Caleb McCoy. And we've had a lot of conversations about, cause I found myself, right, trying to, for sure, I've written out of pain. Absolutely. And I've created some dope stuff from the heart. And also I'm finding myself in a place years later where it's like, have you ever tried to write from a healthy place?
Right.
It's different,
Right.
And I think it's also a different level of maturity as well. And trying to understand that like and I don't have it all together. I'm still trying to figure it out,
Right.
To write from a healed place, write from a hurt place. But you're so used to that dope art coming out of the hurt place. And it's just, so it just makes me think about, sort of that question. You know? Yeah.
I started writing because of you and seeing how like you, I think you just told me one time, just let it out or like write or whatever. And I started to write a little bit and literally like we had this convo like a while back, like I haven't wrote anything in like 2-3 years. because I can't write from a healthy place. I really can't. I can't like that pain that I used to like write, or like, you know, I may not be like the spoken word, like, you know what I mean? I can't like rapper, you know what I mean? But I could put things together, and that's just it's not there for me no more. Sometimes I can't create the brand like how I used to, because the brand was such, you know, what are your intentions was such was pain and sad based. Like I was just like a pain, angry, sad person around that time, and it's so hard for me to create now because I'm happy.
Right.
And that like happy in my relationship life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It may not be full happy in like career wise, and you know, mental wise sometimes, because I'm not where I want to be like health wise. But for that part, I'm happy in, and it just doesn't correlate no more.
I'll just say to that, like something that I've observed from other people's art that is not just like a dark, you know, like I'm not saying dark, but just like, you know, the more heavier art and things like that, that I think is just also too about shifting your perspective, right? If your art is your art, it's still a tool, right? It can be a tool to heal or to break something down,
right?
You know, and I think if you're changing your perspective, maybe this poem, they may be the poem about depression, but there's also a poem about a joy of having a baby, right? And so I think it's still, with time, like using your art and remembering it's still a tool. Because the same way you can describe what depression feels, you can also describe what it is to hold your first child.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's looking at it in a tool-based, you know, sort of thing, and really like training your eye to see the beauty in that, and to see the beauty in everyday things. And that, when I came to a place of like sort of like stumping and you know, writer's block or things like that, or creative block, I have to remind myself like the art isn't just in big situations, it's in everyday life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The details is all there, but I have not opened my eyes enough to see that, you know? So
I have a weird question. When you had your first kid, did anything trigger into you? Like, did you say, "Oh, I gotta go harder in life"?
Yeah, I think it causes a lot of. I think it's a big deal. I think.
Like, were you in survival mode when you had your kids?
I don't want to say survival mode, but I think it really triggers. Like, at least for me, I became much more efficient. Like everything was just like, I got to get this done in this order, and I think there have been some studies done that have shown that it actually causes significant changes in the neuronal patterns of the parents after the kid is born. You know. So I don't know. I think it made me things that I would have found very difficult before children. After having a child, it was like, you know, I can handle this.
Even maybe not the side of like difficulty, but do you feel like your perspective when you had children, what you took as serious before? Do you feel like that changed? Right, like I used to care about this heavy, but now that I have a child, it's, you know.
Yeah, you're like, I think it resets a lot of priorities.
Yeah, priorities. There was the word.
You know, like I think I pretty much stopped playing fantasy football after
nice.
that. Child, you know?
But now they're older, and now you got fantasy football.
Now I'm back. Yeah, back to it.
Just to stay on like the creative space, right? So like, I can't write from a hurt standpoint, but I can't listen to that same music.
Oof, yeah.
That I was listening to when I was hurt. Like my favorite, like I you know, obviously I love Drake. He doesn't have that many pain inspired pieces. He has, you know, a lot of introspective pieces, but it's not pain, right? But The Weeknd has some pain pieces.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite work is that.
Yeah.
And I don't visit it.
Yeah.
I don't visit it that often.
So I'm going to ask. This is a tough question. Okay. You know, I think we all perceive, you know, if we're having a, you know, mental sadness or depression, that, you know, we want to get rid of it, right? But is it possible that maybe we actually enjoy it deep down at some level, you know, that we enjoy this experience of kind of wallowing in it and, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like it takes like, you gotta be, yes.
Yeah.
I feel like because depression is like, it's a balance, right? It's like, part of it is like, damn, like this is what's happening right now.
Right.
This place, like I'm in the dungeon. And then part of you gets so used to the dungeon that it's like, we live here, we out here. Like, what you mean? Like, you know, we live here. And then, so I think that there are qualities or just things as a human where like you get too comfortable in one space, you want everything that wants.
Right.
Right. And there's what's the picture? It's like I think it's like of the monkey listening to like headphones on. It has headphones on and he's like this. And he's like, and the caption says, me running back the song because it didn't hurt enough the first time. And the monkey's just like, damn, yeah, you know, but sometimes I think reliving, you know, it's twisted. I'm trying to find the words, but it's like
it's pretty psychotic, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like I can pull from those memories, and I
don't think it's good.
I've done that before, bro. Like,
yeah,
I don't know if anybody ever listened to My Dear Melancholy album by The Weeknd, but it is 4 or 5 tracks of pure hurt and pain, and you can cry to, and I did. Wasted times.
Yeah. Yeah, and I I think part of like getting out of depression is realizing like you have to flip a switch.
Yeah.
You know, like that's something that, and I've struggled with depression before. I feel like I've struggled with depression like earlier in my years, and I didn't know it was depression.
Right.
And you know, but I think part of me getting out of it is like there has to be like a will that you push within yourself to be like, you know what, like, yeah, this is it. And like this might be my reality right now, but I can literally get up and try to switch it.
We'll talk it out. You know, stuff like that. Therapy. Yeah. Something
that my therapist we talk about a lot. The concept of like shift.
So like how long have you been in therapy?
I think it was like a few after COVID.
Yeah, so a while now. So
yeah, a couple years, I think.
3, 4.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So,
and I haven't even realized like how many years I've been in it. Yeah, I mean it's been an experience for sure. Therapy, I feel like as relationships are, like they're like a mirror, right? Relationships are like mirrors. You're gonna see the parts of you that you are blind to when you have someone that close,
right?
You know.
Yeah, well, and the reason I asked the question is, you know, I've had experience with people who it's very clear to me they enjoy being victims, you know, and they want to stay. You know, maybe it's one thing, you know, if you really like the Weeknd song and you want to dwell on it, but victimhood is a very different thing.
I mean, I think when you paint that, I think I did want to be a victim. I think I did like telling my boys like, nah, man, I'm not gonna chase after this girl. Or like when we went out to the bars and club, like, nah, man, I'm still hurt. Like, I think I liked that. That was just me being scared of getting over what I was getting over, and I think I just like being in that mode.
Yeah, because something new. Because I think something new feels uncomfortable. Yeah, feels different, and I think
it also was a part of me where I was like, I'm tired of explaining my favorite color, and
oh god,
I'm tired. You know what I mean, and stuff like that.
What's your favorite song?
Yeah,
what kind of music do you listen to?
But like when I can feel the victim
absolutely
there. I can feel. What I was doing wasn't too healthy, and I enjoyed being in that. And I would post those songs.
Oh, I remember
with the lyric.
I remember.
It was pretty bad, bro.
No, I remember. Yeah, and I think too, man. If you don't have like good people around you that will try to get you out of that space, you're gonna be there.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
and it's a very real place. I just have to say it's very real. Like, and just to not shut down anybody's pain. Like everyone's pain is valid.
Right.
Like. The joint is real. What you've been through is like hella real. But you do have to like, part of healing is your responsibility to push toward change.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
I don't want to make light of anything.
Definitely not joking.
What I went through and you know what you go through, you're entitled to feel your feelings and certain things. I just could never go to the extreme route because I know, as I mean extreme, I could never, do anything that would hurt myself because I know how much it would affect other people, and I think I take that I don't take that too lightly. You know what I mean? So, I chose to essentially rise. Try get myself out of the ruts I've been in. So yeah.
Yeah, so I wanted to circle back on this. You mentioned the company you keep.
Yeah.
And so this is actually a huge part of, at least within the yogic tradition, is this idea that basically the qualities of the people you associate with the most are going to bleed into your personality. So I'm curious on your, both your perspectives on that. Because I know sometimes misery loves company.
Yeah,
like, truly.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I think the people that I have in my life now are people that I want to grow old with. Right. I don't think like my circle is so small, and like I don't think there's anybody now that I'm like, all right, like, you know what I mean, like, you don't want to change. I'm gonna phase you out. I think I've done that in the past couple of years, and the people now. I think we're all pretty healthy in our own right. We have our own moments where we're bad and we talk each other through it. Like, you have a therapist. You are my therapist, Harley.
Wow.
Go Ball's my therapist. Trent's my therapist. So like, stuff like that. Yeah, I would say if you and that doesn't only go for your friendships. It also goes for your relationships with your family too. So I would say if there's bad habits and you don't want those habits in your life anymore, you remove those habits. And it's I think it's just better to do it now and get your life in order and what you want the outcome to be in your life, instead of dragging it on and passing it on to maybe your kid or further down the line.
Yeah. No, yeah, I mean, I think it's super important, and I think it shows, I think it bleeds through in a good way, but there can be like a more harmful way where your environment can bleed in, the way you've seen, the way you maybe your upbringing, right? It may bleed into like how you operate throughout situations. But yes, I think it's good to have healthy people around you who are level-headed, right? I think also have people who've been through something, because I feel like I am more trustworthy of your word if you've actually been through it, if you have age, and I feel like with age comes wisdom, as well. You've been through experiences. And so, yeah, so for me, all kinds of people. I feel like I have close friends. I have, obviously close family. Just the parental, side of just like parents have wisdom, grandmother, mentors as well. People that I'm really like locked in with, that I operate in my situations in the daily, like kind of remembering those things, right? Whether it's, looking at a situation of even like recovering from hurt, right? One of my mentors always tell me, she would always say like in every situation, both of them, they would always say like, you take the meat, leave the bones, right? In every situation, like, there's going to be things that we can take no matter what it is, right? Take the good, leave the bad, take the meat, leave the bones, less is more, like, and so I try to like use those to guide in my life. And then also too with my own like discernment, right? That I feel like, God has also given me as well, where like I operate through, you kind of feel, I'm like, that doesn't feel, something inside of me is telling me like, don't go that route. That's probably not the best thing. I feel like through situations in life, I feel like God also gives people wisdom and discernment to operate and how to operate. And I think that's important too.
You ever thought about cutting me off as a friend? Because like I probably
at one point, yeah. If I'm being real, at one point, I think and I'll say this.
I was dreadful, bro.
Yeah. So I'll say this. At one point, to be real, there was a point years ago. And I remember talking to my dad about it and stuff like that. But I more was like, listen, if I'm going to have people around me, I need people who are doing things with their lives. Straight up. And I remember having that conversation with my dad, because obviously we've grown up since the 6th grade together. You know, I've seen you through multiple situations, vice versa. And I felt like there was one point in your life where it was like, I'm like, my thing was like, I don't want dead weight on my boat. You feel me? Yeah. And for real, but, and I know that sounds heavy, but it's also to a point of like, cause he knows, like, I'll keep it real with him. Yeah. Like, you might feel like dead weight. I need you to change that. Right. What are we going to do with that? What are you going to do to like change your life? And I'm actually remember having a conversation with my dad about that. And I'm like, I have some homies around me that like, they just like, we cool and everything, but like, what are we doing with our lives? What are you doing with your life? You know, because I'm trying to make moves. I need you to try to make moves too. I don't want you to be in the same spot, you know? And I feel like for me, and I think too, you know, it's that. And I feel like over time, it gradually changed, you know?
Right.
But I did have that once in my life.
You hear that, people? Even your day ones will switch on you.
And it's not even on like no switch up, no cut off, but it was just genuinely like as you get older.
Nah, he wouldn't have did that.
No, for sure. I would never do that. But it's hard to like, You want better for you. Exactly. So, and again, something that I've, in these past couple of years that I've learned too, like, I don't want me or my people around me to like just operate in survival mode.
Right.
I also feel like God has called us to like live a life in abundance, a healthy life.
Right.
You know, mentally, physically, spiritually, right? And so I feel like if I can recognize that and other people can recognize that, I want them to feel that as well, you know? Yeah. And so.
Yeah. Ray, reverse it, man. have you ever been close to dumping him or?
Yeah. I mean,
I don't think I would ever. Like he's my brother, man. I don't think I could. There is times I'd be like, fucking. I'd be like, my fault. I'd be like, Sky, dog.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the love stuff that we talk about sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes when you say situations, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, he definitely. You know, he's not a fan of some of my stuff. I don't mean that per se,
but I think I know what time you're talking about, and I think I remember I had a conversation with your dad. And his dad looked at me and said, "Ray, you gotta outgrow your pot."
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's time to outgrow the pot.
It's time to outgrow the pot. And that literally always sticks with me.
Yeah.
And you know, you perceive that how you perceive it. But yeah, I don't think I could ever cut him off. I think we've been through so much. We've been through much pain together. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a good tug and pull relationship, right? So like we're not scared to criticize each other, and I think that's good to have in your circle. Like most of the people that I have in my circle now are people that I can take advice from and learn from them, and they're like, we're not bums per se, but like you know what I mean? Like we push each other, like we try to push each other as much as we can, and yeah.
Got to.
Do you have anybody you wanted to cut off, or you have cut off?
No. I mean, there's friends. I mean, there's friends I think you maybe outgrow over time, you know, but it's not, you know,
growth is real. Yeah.
I think you have to accept that, you know, there's just, you know, life comes and goes, and
I'm kind of going through a little outgrowing a little bit, just a little bit with a couple people, but I'm trying to leave room there.
Yeah. And I think, you know, the reality is if their priorities are totally different, then they're totally different. And it's like, you know.
Yeah, I think too, like, that's also something that I'm trying to, like, as I've gotten older to not, because we as people, we can operate like, I'm going to feel some type of way. And we sometimes operate, I was like, oh, because we haven't talked in a while. Like, I feel a way towards you. And it's like, the truth is, it could just be a part of like, you got more stuff going on in your life right now. Like things is changing a little different, and those changes aren't personal towards you. Like they're just happening, you know? And so something that I've tried to like, you know, sort of like instill within myself and learn is like, one is not a personal attack towards you. People's priorities in their lives are changing. Right. And does that mean the love that they have changes towards you? No. And I feel like sometimes we have to check ourselves. Like I find myself checking myself on that specifically. Like, yo, don't get in your feelings. It's not towards you. The same way you have a life and you have things on your plate, so do they.
Right.
And I have to check myself. Because if not, then we fall to the victim sort of boat, you know?
Yeah.
The victim game. And just like, and then you just out here like having issues with everybody. And nobody want to live like that. You know?
Yeah. Like there's weeks where we talk almost every day. There's weeks where twice a week, 3 times a week. I don't think it's ever been a month recently, but when we're on vacation, we're like sending each other like, oh, this is cool. You know what I mean? I'm here in Chicago showing him like, where the Transformer thing was, stuff like that. But
Ratchet.
But you outgrow what you probably should outgrow.
Yeah, and I don't know, and I think too, because there are real moments that I've had in these past couple of years going through my own stuff where I had to take a step back from people because I was getting over hurt. I was
in negativity.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
Me too.
I'm sometimes naturally a negative person about myself. I don't need extra negativity.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think for the most part, everybody that's in my circle is positive. And I think that's what that helps me have a balance, right? The more negative, the more I felt like even worse about myself. So I try not to have conversations with overly negative people and just try to stay to the positive side.
Yeah. There's currently like people in my life that I haven't talked to in a while that I miss, that I stepped back from, for a while because I was getting over hurt. And, I think about them a lot. I miss them. I'm trying to make steps to I don't even want to call it a reconcile, but it just feels so weird when you like this much with a person and then things happen in life, and right. they aren't how they used to be. And so I'm coming to a place also like being mindful of my own heart, my own healing too, but also like I do want to do life with you again,
Yeah.
And have you in my, circle. And so kind of learning that but also when I feel like when people are going through real things, man, like it's real.
Right.
What happens has to happen at times, and it's not always pretty,
Yeah. So my last big question is on the topic of substance abuse.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like there's a lot of people, and I can, again, speak a little bit from my own personal experience. I think a lot of times, there's a lot of people who self-medicate.
Absolutely.
Because they want to silence whatever it is. And, just curious on what you've seen personally or been through personally, and, anything you want to share with the audience.
Yeah, I mean, so there's definitely a lot of people struggling, right? Like we all going through something. I think people that I know personally, friends, family, whatever it is, I think substance is a real thing. And I think just because at times we think of substance abuse as you doing drugs, or something like that, or you're an alcoholic or whatever, and I also think, yes, that's a part of it, right? I've seen people around me just drink and only look forward to the weekend just to cope what they're going through during the week. I know people who smoke every day, can't smoke without starting their day.
Right.
And what I mean? I feel, I hear it. I know people who, you use social media and keep your mental busy to cope with not being present in the moment.
Right.
People who have sex and just to fill a void within, you know?
Right.
And so I've seen all those things. I've been in a lot of those places before, where I think escapism is a real thing, I had to go through that too. I mean, recovering from heartbreaks in the past and I'm not shutting down anybody who is if you're whatever. And so if that's your route to go to soothe yourself and bring yourself calming. But I came at a point where I started dabbling in smoking, and it's not even necessarily some people are, oh my God, but some people it's some people do it for health purposes. Some people literally do it to cope with anxiety, for
pain relief.
You know what I'm saying? I have family members as well who have pain relief that they have to smoke because of that. For moments, for me, it was this mental escape that I had to because I've dealt in my lifetime with anxiety. I've dealt with nonstop thoughts, ruminating, right? If you get into the concept of thinking or ruminating, boom, 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 going in a circle. And I feel for moments it brought a temporary relief, where it's just yo, bro, I just literally need to not think about this right now or think about anything else just for a moment. I just want some type of peace, and I feel over time, you know, it was for a moment and things like that. But I think eventually, like, I've come sort of closer with myself, working on sort of my relationship with my faith, my relationship with God, and I've tried to like just be more grounded and centered, learning through like therapy, breathing, right? Just trying to like change my perspective on the way I see stuff, you know? And I'm a very like heavy overthinker. And so what might look simple in your mind looks like a very complex idea in my mind. And I have to like simplify things, like break them down, simplify them. So I've been in all places, man, like, you know, and even, you know, with drinking before, with smoking, with sex, like all of those things to fill voids, like that is a very real. And I've been in like all of those spots.
Yeah.
So I don't shut anybody down in that spot. But I do think like there are much more healthier ways.
Yeah.
And I think something that I've learned is to embrace like silence.
Yeah.
If you are able to embrace silence, you can embrace yourself. You can be more present. Right. And so that's like something that I'm like really like, even when people I would just say this, like I'm always listening to music. It's subconsciously, I don't want there to be like silence in the background. I need to feel like there's something going on or like something is in this space. But why can't I just be okay with my own silence and myself?
Right.
That's something that I started to think about, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, do you always have to fill a moment with like scrolling through social media or putting music on to fill some type of space in the room where you just can't sit with yourself?
Yeah.
And that's what I started to learn within me and that I'm learning to like embrace more, you know? And take those moments as like moments of silence to like to hear what's going on in your life, what's happening. Listen to God, like hear from him, you know?
Right.
Feel within like what's going on. And that's been like more important as I'm like trying to heal and grow and yeah.
I mean, I did smoke before. I did smoke before. I really don't like to because it makes me think too much.
Right.
Like overly think about like the stupidest things. Not stupid things, but like I literally would like dissect like life and like aliens and stuff and I'll like
for real, though.
And like, you know, like my biggest like thing that scares me now is just complete blackness of like what happens when you die. So, you know, we talked about that before. Yeah. It's just like it's things now that I have like crazy anxiety about. Drink, I can drink. I'm the type of drinker is like go hard or go home. So like, I don't think I've ever. I mean, I'm pretty sure there was probably like really bad mental issues there when I used to that 2016-15 range where I was like going out every single day from Thursday to Sunday to the bar and drinking and coping with things. I'm pretty sure there was some really bad stuff there. But now when I drink, I feel it. And I know my body doesn't want to feel that no more. I try to stay away from it. So
right. That's real.
Yeah.
And I think some of those things too, like some people, I feel like some people do those things to just like catch a vibe.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, you can catch a vibe without that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's all good, you know?
You do get a confidence boost sometimes.
You do. Yeah.
It's like a dopamine.
Like the liquid courage. Yeah. You know, that's
you wouldn't say that soberly.
You're right.
And 100%, I probably wouldn't. Like, there's some bad stories from that time around me.
For sure. Yeah. But definitely not knocking down anybody. Like, it's you know, we all go through things. And honestly, and some people know how to do it and keep themselves, like, centered, too. Like, I also know people who smoke a lot and that's their just, hey, I'm just eased right now.
Right.
You know, I got boys like that, so but hey, that works for you, you know? Some people casually have a drink to like loosen down big long day, like, you know, and it works. But I think when it comes to a point when you're dependent on something, that's when it's like, all right, brother, you got to like really tap in. You know, I do have a good escape and it's movies. I really be like, I'm going to see y'all in 2 hours. And I literally feel like movies and film like is an escape for me.
Right.
Legit. And I love it.
What about your photography?
That too, yeah. No, I love film. I love photography. I feel like those So there's two sides to it. There's like a work side, which I actually do some of it for like freelancing, and there's also like, you know, the escape part to it, where it's like, man, like really taking in like this moment of art and this beauty, you know. And so and taking in poetry and spoken word and all that good music too,
right,
I feel like is dope. But again, when music, like we talked about the weekend earlier, when it gets to a point where it takes me, the vibe is taking me to another place where like, oh, I'm thinking about, you know what I mean? I'm thinking about my past situations or whatever. I'm thinking about, I want to like make a motive off of this. I'm trying to operate like this now. Then it's like, you gotta regulate and check yourself. And so that's what,
You have any substance?
Oh yeah, I don't. It's not worth getting into here, but you know, yeah. All I'll say is, you know, meditation practices fixed a lot of those issues. You know, I think it's for a lot of the same reason. I think it's just, you know, whether it's trying to escape from the stress of work or, you know, whatever's chatters in your head. And I think, you know, it's worth mentioning. I mean, this stuff is just available everywhere now. You know. And it's an easy escape, but it is, it's an escape. And I think in a lot of cases you end up not just facing the problem head on, you know. That's
the thing.
And I wanted to, you know, you were mentioning breathing, and I just want to come back to this because this is really the, you know, the essence of a lot of yogic teachings is around the need to steady the breath, and that the breath has a huge impact on both the physical body and also your mental functions. And I can tell you as somebody who had really crummy breathing for a long time.
Really?
You know, if you fix your breathing, you may be surprised by how quickly your mood stabilizes.
Yeah. Breathing, taking moments to be like, you know, to like regulate yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Like is a very like that concept sort of is like intertwined with each other. Because like I've experienced moments too where like some of my days can get so busy, and if I don't take a moment for myself before that day starts, I've literally like if I don't take a moment to breathe, pray, relax, just like stretch, I most likely the midday or the end of the day is gonna be I'm gonna feel the stress,
right,
straight up. And so I think those moments are important to like take that moment, ground yourself, then take on what you need to, rather than like you'll never hop out of, well, some people do, you hop out of bed and you go straight to class, like, you know, and you about to take in a whole hour lecture. It's like, nah, bro, like give yourself a moment.
Right.
As you get older, I've learned that I need more moments. And when I was younger, I didn't make time for moments.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this has been a good discussion.
For sure, so, man, for sure.
So we got our donation. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. For my donation will go to, I think it will go toward an organization that deals with autism. So I currently have a younger brother, Jeremiah, with autism, and that's been a life change for me and my family. And so very passionate just about individuals with special needs and the support of the family, because, you know, families do go through a lot, you know, dealing with those situations and things like that. And I've seen my fam and my parents go through a lot with that. And so just, you know, sending love, you know, toward everybody who's working with someone, whether it's autistic or any type of disability, you know, got mad love. And I think individuals with autism, then, you know, it's just a different world, you know. I think the way we see things in our world, they see it just a little different, you know, their frequency and like the way they see stuff is just, it's very different. And so
yeah,
I've learned a lot through my younger brother, and yeah, man. So
I'm gonna go for our 1 minute meditation.
Yeah.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's get this minute in.
Let's go.
Yeah. I need to bring this home, not gonna lie.
I think like 40 seconds in, I was like, yeah, I peaked at like the very end.
I used to. I haven't done it in a while though. I haven't peaked in a while. I might need to steal this and bring it home. And
no, for real.
Whenever I, about to get angry.
Give me a second.
Hold on, Trin.
That's funny.
So, little quote I'm going with today: "We grow old too soon and wise too late."
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Who from?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I saw it. I just saw it somewhere.
Yeah.
I know you do a little spoken word. Do you have any quotes from any of your stuff?
It's a quote. I actually want to get tatted. Will I get it tatted? We'll see. Because I don't know if I want to do it.
You don't even have tattoos.
I ain't got nothing.
Yeah. He's trying to be like me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm trying to get there. I have a dope idea for it. But yeah, so there's this quote that I wrote a part of this poem called Still Bless You. And really it was like, the poem is really just about the concept of like, will I still like bless God? Will I still bless like what is in front of me or my life, even if it's rough, right? It's like really like just me talking to God in a sense. And so, really despite my circumstances. So the quote, it's like one of the favorite things that I've written. It says, every wave in the ocean is commanded by God to come back to shore. So where I am now is not where I always will be. And it's like putting the visualization. I love water, things like that. It's a very calming thing, right? Yeah. Water, trees, right? And so really looking at the cycle of the waves, right? They come back, they go, and they come back. They go and they come back. And so where I am now in life, although it may feel like right now is forever, I've learned that right now is not forever, right? And it eventually will change, And so that's just a little ode to give hope to people, in the midst of like life being life,
Mm-hmm.
And so the waves on the shore will like always return and they go. So, and I feel like God holds that all for me. So we're going to be good,
All right, man.
Yeah, it was a good conversation.
You.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Thank y'all for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And if there's anyone out there, struggling with mental blocks, mental health issues, you got nothing but love from us. We hope you work through it quickly and effectively.
Yeah. And I hope you took something from just regular people today.
Yeah.
You got a purpose. Your life is worth it, and you are valued, and you are loved. That's all I'm going to say. Straight up.
Well, until next time, this is Chakra Free Radio signing off.